Welcome to our Pharma Topics channel. Welcome to the 20th series of BPharm 5th semester pharmacology. In this series, we are going to see about the Unit 4 insulin and oral hypoglycemic drugs and parenteral hypoglycemic drugs. The first question in this section is write a note on insulin and its analogs. Let us classify the insulin preparations. One is rapidly acting insulins. They act within 15 to 20 minutes and they have a duration of action of 3 to 4 hours. Lispro, Aspart and Glulicin. Short acting insulins is regular insulin. They have an onset of action within 30 to 60 minutes and the duration is there for 5 to 8 hours and it can be given intravenously. Semi-lengthy insulin, it acts within 1 to 2 hours and the duration for 12 hours. Intermediate acting insulins, they are NPH or isophane insulin. It acts within 2 hours and the duration is there for 16 to 18 hours. Lengthy insulin, it acts within 2 hours. Duration is there for 16 to 20 hours. And lengthy insulin actually contains 30% amorphous and 70% crystalline insulin. Then long-acting insulins, they are ultra-lengthy. It acts within 4 to 6 hours and has a duration of action for about 20 to 36 hours. And Glargine, it has onset within 4 to 6 hours and duration is roughly a day, that is 24 hours. And Detemir, onset within 2 to 4 hours and duration is there for 24 hours. And Degludec, it has an onset of 2 to 4 hours and duration is very long acting, 24 to 40 hours. All the insulin preparations are supplied at pH 7.2 to 7.4 except Glargine, which is supplied at acidic pH 4. Glargine cannot be mixed with any other insulin because it is supplied at pH 4. Regular insulin should not be mixed with lengthy or ultra-lengthy insulin since it can lose its efficacy. Mechanism of action of insulin, it decreases the blood glucose by the following mechanisms. It stimulates glucose entry into the muscles by increasing the synthesis of the transporter GLUT4. It inhibits glycogenolysis. It increases glycolysis. It inhibits lipolysis. And it increases the synthesis and inhibits the breakdown of proteins. The routes of administrations of insulin are all the insulin preparations can be given by subcutaneous route in the abdomen, thigh, buttocks or dorsal arms. Only regular insulin that is crystalline form can be administered intravenously. Inhalational insulin, Afrezza, was approved by FDA in 2014. Is contraindicated in patients with chronic lung disease or asthma. The factors affecting insulin absorption are site of injection, the type of insulin, subcutaneous blood flow. The rate actually increases with gentle massage, hot bath or exercise. The depth of the injection also plays a major role in insulin absorption. It is faster with IM than subcutaneous injections. The therapeutic uses of insulin are multiple. All cases of insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus cases which are not controlled on oral hypoglycemic agents. It is used in gestational diabetes mellitus and it is useful in addressing the complications like diabetic ketoacidosis, hyperosmolar coma. It is used in during infections, that is before surgery. It is useful in treatment of acute hyperkalemia. Adverse effects of insulin. Hypoglycemia is the most common adverse effect. Lipodystrophy, allergic reactions, sodium and water retention. And the drug interactions of insulin. Insulin, when combined with non-selective beta blockers, it can delay the recovery from hypoglycemia. Insulin with alcohol increases the risk of hypoglycemia. Insulin with diuretics, corticosteroids and oral contraceptives or diazoxide decreases the effectiveness of insulin. The next question is classify oral hypoglycemic drugs. They are antidiabetic drugs which release insulin. They are called insulin secretagogues. They are sulfonylureas first generation, chlorpropamide, tolbutamide. sulfonylureas second generation, glimepiride, glipizide, gliclazide, and glibenclamide. Anti-diabetic drugs which work by other mechanisms are biguanides, metformin, thiazolidinediones, pioglitazone, rosiglitazone, alpha-glucosidase inhibitors, acarbose, voglibose, and miglitol, DPP4 inhibitors, sitagliptin, vildagliptin, saxagliptin, and SGLT2 inhibitors, canagliflozin and dapagliflozin. Let us see about the sulfonylureas first. These drugs are called insulin secretagogues. Classification: first generation is chlorpropamide, tolbutamide. Second generation is glimepiride, glipizide, gliclazide, glibenclamide, and metiglinide. Actually, these drugs release insulin from the pancreatic beta cells by inhibiting ATP-sensitive potassium channels. The potassium efflux from the cells is prevented. The beta cells is prevented. It leads to beta cell depolarization, influx of calcium, and activation of secretory machinery that releases insulin. Kinetics: these drugs are administered orally, undergoes hepatic metabolism followed by renal and biliary elimination of metabolites. Sulfonylureas also decrease the glucagon secretion, which normalizes the blood glucose levels. It also increases insulin sensitivity in type 2 diabetic patients. Pharmacological actions: the second generation sulfonylureas are more potent than the first generation drugs. Sulfonylureas can cause weight gain. Gliclazide can cause additional antiplatelet activity. Glyburide has a maximum insulinotropic activity and produces active metabolite. Apart from binding to SUR1 receptors, it gets sequestered within the beta cells of pancreas, which is the unique property of glyburide. These drugs can also be combined with metformin or insulin for better glycemic control. Let us see the therapeutic uses of sulfonylureas. Sulfonylureas can be used alone to control type 2 diabetes, which are not controlled with dietary restrictions, exercise, and weight reduction. Adverse effects: the more common adverse effect is hypoglycemia, which can result from skipped or delayed meals, inadequate ingestion of carbohydrates, excessive doses, or hepatic and renal disease. The less common adverse effects are rashes, nausea, vomiting, and cholestasis. The rare adverse effects are leukopenia, thrombocytopenia, and hemolytic anemia. The drug interactions are sulfonylureas when combined with thiazide diuretics, corticosteroids, estrogens, thyroid hormones, or phenytoin. It can decrease the effectiveness of sulfonylureas. It may require a dose increase. Sulfonylureas when combined with angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors, sulfonamide antibacterials, NSAIDs, gemfibrozil, or alcohol, it increases the hypoglycemic effects. Sulfonylureas when combined with alcohol, it may cause disulfiram-like reactions. The next set of drugs are a note on metiglinides. The list is repaglinide and nataglinide. Mechanism: it is very similar to sulfonylureas. They release the insulin from the pancreatic beta cells by inhibiting ATP-sensitive potassium channels. The potassium efflux is prevented, leads to beta cell depolarization, causes influx of calcium, and activation of secretory machinery that releases insulin. It can be used in combination with metformin to control postprandial hyperglycemia. These drugs should not be combined with other anti-diabetic agents or insulin. Therapeutic uses: these are the first-line drugs in treatment of type 2 diabetes mellitus in conjunction with diet and exercise. These drugs are useful in patients whose meal schedules vary and possess the risk of hypoglycemia. Adverse effects: hypoglycemia, but it is less pronounced than the sulfonylureas. Next is a short note on metformin. It is the only biguanide type of oral anti-diabetic which is available in the market. Mechanism: it activates the enzyme adenosine monophosphate kinase and reduces hyperglycemia by decreasing hepatic glucose output, and that results in increased glycogen stores. It also decreases the glucose absorption from the gut and increases the glucose usage in the skeletal muscles and adipose tissues. Metformin causes maximum reduction in HbA1c levels. Metformin can be used alone or in combination with other anti-diabetic drugs. The therapeutic uses: metformin is the first-line drug for the treatment of type 2 diabetes. It is suitable for obese patients with insulin resistance and for diabetic patients with hyperlipidemia. It is also useful in treatment of polycystic ovarian disease, which is off-label use. Adverse effects. The more common adverse effects are GI disturbances. Diarrhea is most common. Less common adverse effects are lactic acidosis. It is seen in patients with renal or hepatic disease or alcoholism. Megaloblastic anemia can occur on long-term use of metformin because of long-term use. The next is thiazolidinediones. These drugs are called insulin sensitizers that reverses the insulin resistance in type 2 diabetes mellitus. The list is pioglitazone and rosiglitazone. Mechanism, it activates PPAR gamma receptors and regulate the transcription of genes which is involved in glucose and lipid metabolism. Rosiglitazone increases HDL cholesterol, whereas pioglitazone increases both LDL and HDL cholesterol. Adverse effects: weight gain, edema, and increased risk of bladder cancer, but it's seen only on long-term use. Contraindications: these drugs are not advisable in case of patients with congestive heart failure. Some of the thiazolidinediones have been withdrawn from the market because of this cardiac risk. Next is alpha glucosidase inhibitors. The list is acarbose, voglibose, and miglitol. Mechanism: they competitively inhibit the alpha glucosidase, delay the digestion of starch and disaccharides from the brush border of intestinal tract. It reduces the rate of glucose absorption and lowers postprandial glucose. Acarbose is approved for both type 1 and type 2 diabetes mellitus. Acarbose is not absorbed systemically and is eliminated in feces, whereas miglitol is eliminated via renal route. Adverse effects: flatulence, abdominal bloating, and contraindications are congestive heart failure. Next is GLP-1 analogs. These drugs are called incretin mimetics. Classification: parenteral GLP-1 analogs are exenatide and liraglutide, which are given subcutaneously, and oral GLP-1 analogs albiglutide, semaglutide, dulaglutide, and lixisenatide. Mechanism: these drugs mimic the endogenous glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide, that is GLP-1. They have anti-hyperglycemic effects through stimulation of glucose-dependent insulin secretion in the pancreas. They increase the uptake of glucose by the muscles and adipose tissue. They have multiple actions. They decrease the secretion of glucagon, slows the gastric emptying, and increases satiety and decreases food intake. So liraglutide is long-acting than exenatide, and oral GLP-1 analogs have very longer duration of action, nearly a week. Therapeutic uses: type 2 diabetes mellitus and management of obesity. Adverse effects are nausea, vomiting, and acute pancreatitis. Contraindications: they are contraindicated in medullary thyroid cancer. Next is DPP-4 inhibitors. They are gliptins: sitagliptin, vildagliptin, saxagliptin, alogliptin, and linagliptin. Mechanism: these drugs can cause inhibition of dipeptidyl peptidase, an enzyme which metabolizes the GLP-1, thus prolongs the action of endogenous GLP-1. These drugs do not cause weight loss. Adverse effects: nasopharyngitis, upper respiratory tract infection, acute pancreatitis, and hepatitis. Next is SGLT2 inhibitors. They are glyphosins, canagliflozin, empagliflozin, dapagliflozin, and ertugliflozin. These drugs inhibit the SGLT2 in the proximal tubules and reduce the reabsorption of glucose. These drugs have reduced efficacy in renal failure. The adverse effects: they increase the risk of urinary tract infections and fractures. The next drug is pramlintide. It is an analog of islet amyloid polypeptide IAPP, approved for anti-diabetic therapy for both type 1 and type 2 diabetes mellitus. It decreases the glucagon secretion, appetite, and delays gastric emptying. Adverse effects: hypoglycemia. Let us see a short note on glucagon. It stimulates the glucagon receptors in the heart and increases cyclic AMP levels. It's a drug of choice for treatment of beta blocker overdose. It is ineffective for hypoglycemic conditions during starvation and alcoholism. Dasiglucagon is an analog of glucagon. used in treatment of severe hypoglycemia in diabetic patients. So it's a very short information of all the anti-diabetic drugs which you could be useful for your exam preparation. I hope it will be useful. Thank you for listening. Happy learning. Kindly share this to more of your friends. Kindly subscribe to our Pharma Topics channel. If you like this video, kindly press the like button. Go through all the series which is available in the Pharma Topics channel. The links are given in the description box. Make use of it and score well. All the best. Thank you.